In a closed society where everybody's guilty, the only crime is getting caught. In a world of thieves, the only final sin is stupidity.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is a 1998 film directed by Terry Gilliam, starring Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro. The story follows Hunter S. Thompson and his sort of psychopathic lawyer as they undertake this huge psychedelic journey into the heart of Las Vegas. And it basically just follows them through this journey and all of the mishaps, all of their escapades along the way. And it's kind of a fun ride, I will say, and the visuals in this were what struck me immediately. The visuals and the sound design. Johnny Depp gives a good performance as Hunter S. Thompson. I know he knew Hunter personally for a time, and I'd say that if I was going to come away from the movie with a couple of different thoughts, my two main takeaways would be the visuals and Johnny Depp's performance. I thought that the performance was very good, and the visuals really encapsulate the film in a way that kind of makes you feel all of the things that they are feeling, which can be good sometimes, but a lot of the times it's not good. They did some very sort of ethically gray, ambiguous stuff. But the drive into Las Vegas with weed, mescaline. He apparently rode with the Hells Angels for a certain period of time, which was a little bit interesting. But he had a very direct style of investigative journalism to apply to his writing, so that he could really ground all of his writing in real true experiences. Now this is just going to be sort of a summary of the movie and sort of a light take. Kind of an interesting film in that it doesn't actually have a plot per se. There's never really something that the protagonists are trying to achieve, and they're not necessarily even protagonists except for maybe Hunter, but his friend is kind of a piece of shit. His friend is kind of a crazy. There's no real moral center to the movie. So I think that's actually one of the things that Quentin Tarantino does so well, and one of the reasons I like his scripts and movies so well is that his characters are not assumed to be moral. Their morality is never stated. It's just left up for the audience to decide whether or not they're moral. So I said I like the visuals in this, and one of the laudable elements of this film is the visuals representing their psychedelic trips, their LSD, their acid, and they take a bunch of acid in this, and mescaline really messes them up. The scene when they're in the casino and all the people start turning into like lizard people, that was just frightening, and that kind of got me on edge. And a lot of the imagery in this is just purely psychedelic, purely trippy, and sends you into this kind of trance state. One negative I will say about this film is, well, I already mentioned it. It doesn't really have any direction that it's going, and by that I don't mean the director wasn't doing his job. No, I mean from a writing point of view, from a script point of view, there's really nowhere that it's going except that they're in Las Vegas and they're doing a bunch of shit and drugs, and some stuff happens, and then it's over. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. You can have some movies that are just event movies where you get to spend some time with the characters and then the movie is over. You get to inhabit that place and time with the characters for that small window, and that's nice. Kind of what I like about, you know, movies like Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, is it's like you're there for the ride. It starts, there's a middle, and then it ends. Earlier I mentioned Johnny Depp's performance in this. I wouldn't say he disappears into the role, because he is very much Johnny Depp, but the whole time he kind of feels like Johnny Depp doing a Hunter S. Thompson impression, which is not bad because he knew the guy, and it was a good impression. I love the scene where Hunter gets too high and then he sees Del Toro just kind of hovering over him, and he's talking to him, and the horns are coming out of his head, and he just starts to freak out because the whole room is melting and everything's just going insane. I would not want to do that drug ever. That's pretty scary. I think Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is a nice movie to like put on for a party, or like when everyone's stoned or drunk and having a good time. It's really kind of a blast. It's funny at times too. So I would say that would be the appropriate sort of time to watch this movie, is when you just really want to have a good time. It's not deep, it's not really all that thought-provoking, it's just kind of a fun ride, and I actually enjoyed it, so I think you might too. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I was thinking like 6.75, that's a little low for this. It's a pretty good film. 7 out of 10 stars, and that's my honest rating. Check out my other videos as usual, subscribe, do whatever you want. It's alright. Alright. That's really... close-up view of my nose hair.